Hello, everyone. This is Sweta Regmi. You're watching me live. I am streaming on LinkedIn, also on YouTube channel at Teach and Do, also my personal Facebook account as well. So let us know where you are watching me from today, and drop in comments if you have any questions. I'll be taking the question and answer a little bit later on. All right, so I'll be here around 20 minutes or so, depending on the type of questions you have. Today, I am going to talk about how do you answer that questions. What's your long-term goal? It's hard. It's hard. And I've been there as a hiring manager, asking from the opposite side. And then I want to talk about that as well. Why did I ask those questions? And after my layoff, I became a job seeker, so I'm a job search survivor as well. And how did I answer that question as well as a job seeker? So I've seen the both side of the world, all right? For those of you who do not know anything about me, I used to be in a hiring world for more than 13 years in Canada, and I got laid off and I bounced back after developing my own framework, which is one size does not fit all, which I right now teach through Teach and Do. All right, so now the interviews are my favorite, but let me know if it's your favorite. Everyone has that strength and weakness, and if interview is not your strength, what I want you to know is nobody loves to go on interview every day, right? But you gotta practice all the time, and practice makes it better. Just like the way that I'm doing live right now. I've been doing live for more than a year. And, every time I go on live, I'm still thinking, oh my God, if it's going to work, what if the system's going to be down? Life happens. And I don't know, as much as I plan, let's talk about planning, okay? As much as I plan, for my live, anything could go down, but I got to be prepared. How do I give you the material to you guys who are watching me, right? So let's go right there and deeply dive into it. So today I'm going to talk about why managers are asking those questions. And also, why do you really need to know your long-term goal? But you know what? If you don't have a goal, that's going to be okay. Life happens. What happens is, how are you going to go from short-term goal to long-term goal? We're going to talk about it today. So let's see if I am live. Can you tell me everything is good? I'm sounding all right. Say number one. Just type in number one if everything is good to go. And I can jump right in. So type in one for me, sound check, and you can see me, you can hear me properly. Type in one for me. Give me a signal so I know that I'm good to go. All right. I'm just going to wait because comments are loading up. And I see a lot of people in a moment. I'm just going to pull some people from the screen as well. Let's see here. Ashish Bista. Namaste. One, perfect. All right, so I can see people are typing one. All right. Hey, Neil, good to see you. All right, perfect. Great. Type in two for me if you have been asked this question as a job seeker. Type in two for me. If you've been asked this question about, hey, what's your long-term goal? Type in two for me. And if you're a hiring manager or recruiter, I'm pretty sure some recruiters are watching me right now. If you have asked this question to candidates, type in three for me. That makes me understand how many hiring managers and recruiters are watching right now, and also the job seeker as well. All right, and feel free to network together also, and you know what, answer questions. How have you handled those questions? What has worked for you? Feel free to drop that down, and people are going to probably take away so many key things today from you, your network, from the comment. Keep on watching. And I see my clients, some of my clients are watching as well, and thank you. So if you know what to do, type it in there. All right, perfect. Let's jump in right into it. Let's go back to why hiring manager. would ask you that questions. And I know there are people they're thinking, you know what, why are you even bothering people with a long-term goal? That's such a cliche question. You should not be asking those questions. Are you asking for the sake of asking? I can speak from my personal experience. I really, really wanted to know if they're the right fit, which is I worked in the banking industry, okay? And there are some career path, which is predefined by our team, management, senior leadership, and whatnot. So when I'm taking people into the role, such as entry-level role, I'm always asking those questions to them just to find out if they're the right fit, if that's relevant, where they start and where do they want to go, if it's relevant. And I really looked for those candidates where I can support them. As a manager, it's my responsibility now to make sure that I develop the career path for them. They're here, and in 5 years from now, they want to go there. I really wanted to support them. So that question was really, really important for me, myself. Because as a manager, let's talk about this, right? Your task is 80% of the time you should be coaching your direct reports, your employee, to promote them or to leverage their talent to different department. So it's really crucial for me to understand if I can support them. If they're not the right fit, then I would probably not hire them if they have just totally screwed up that questions. And we're going to talk about it. What's a do's and what's a don't, right? And again, everyone has their preferences. Hiring managers have their preferences, and I'd like to address this: is one size does not fit all. It all depends on the type of industry you're applying for. The answers are not going to be the same for everybody, and I'm going to disappoint you. There's no like rule book of this is how you should answer. It all depends, which is your industry, your title, right? And obviously the tools and resources available for you as well. There's so many things. And also, if you are working with a startup company, or if you're working with the Fortune 500 company, top companies, it all depends. If you're working on the unionized role, if you're working in the government role, right? Everyone has a career path within their department. Stay within that. So for example, let me tell you this. A lot of people, there's some stigma around it. Long-term goals should be always managing people, leadership, right? Hey, not everybody is going to be happy leading the team, and that's going to be okay. That doesn't mean that you have to feel guilty about it, that I don't want to be manager. I don't want that. I don't want more responsibility. I just want 9 to 5 work-life balance, right? I don't want to be responsible for other people. I am an individual contributor. I'm not going to be responsible for other people's work. I just want to do my work, get out of here. And that's going to be okay. But you don't want to say that in an interview. There's a strategy you have to implement it, right, in a very good way. So that way you're not seen as, I'm not willing to take any additional work, right? So there are so many things you gotta think about it. First is research. First step is I really want you to research about those companies. Now, if someone is asking you about the long-term goal, I do have YouTube channel as well. There's YouTube channel right there. Let me see here if I can put that in there. All right, so YouTube channel is right there. You can go and see there is the topic, how do you answer long-term goal? I provided clear example on that, but I'm gonna a little bit touch about it as well. How do you go about answering that, okay? So if someone's asking you, it depends on the role. So for me, if someone asked me when I was on an entry-level role, where do you see yourself? I never saw myself as a management material, leadership material. I never thought that I would be leading a team. So my answer was, but then you know what? I was not sure about it. But to be safe, I've answered in going from entry-level, right? Going from entry-level, I've answered, you know what? I really wanted to be subject matter expert, and I really wanted to know everything about the job that I'm applying for it. So later on, in a couple of years from now, when the new hire, like myself, myself comes into the department, I want to be mentor. I want to train them. I want to own that new hire and train them from start to finish. And also, I really want to work on the complex project as well and develop the relationship outside of this department and outside of this department, outside of this work environment as well. So that way, that helps me prep for my next role. And also, what I also said was, now this is where you come up, if you have not done the research, let's say that you've not done the research about this company, and it could happen. This is where I put the strategy on it. And I started to go on to the conversational side of interview, right? Instead of shooting in the dark of like, oh my God, what if they think that I'm too ambitious? I don't want them to think that I'm too ambitious. I'm like, I know it all. No, I don't know it all. I'm willing to learn, but I still don't know the goal if I am aligned with their goal, because every department has their goals and need, right? So here's what I flip it over with the question. This is how you turn your interview into the conversation now. And you would go, you know what? And again, it depends on the job description. Sometimes clearly on a job description, they say, we support you for personal development. Bingo. If that's on a job description, or if it's in a Glassdoor, if it's in a website, and literally a little bit of research would pay off this, pay off. So you would say, you know what, I've wherever you saw it from, right? Like, let's say it was on a job description or a Glassdoor online, you could say, you know what, I noticed that you actually had this mention in there based on my research. Could you help me understand what does the career path look like for this kind of title that I'm applying for? And 10 years from now, where do people branch out to? And you know what? You open that can of worms now. Now, hiring manager would tell you, hey, you know what? Good question. There are people in this role that we pick. Certain people, if you are on that role, we pick. If you want to go into the management, we pick from this pool. And in order to go into that pool, you got to do a couple of courses. And you can ask them, oh, great to know. You know what? Do you offer in-house course? Do you have a learning and development people or team who are going to train for future, new hire or whatever within the company, right? There are a lot of companies, top companies, any companies I've worked in the past. We all had that team, learning and development team, HR team, who were actually, developing the course for internal people. Some courses were outsourced, right? So this is where you are moving on from, instead of just rambling and feeling guilty about it if you don't know, you can always put them on a spot and ask them, can you tell me what kind of courses, if I were to go from this to this, what kind of courses a lot of people in your team are taking right now? That will help me understand. And then also you can add the humor to it. Interview is all about knowing one another, if you're the right fit. Do not forget to add the humor on it. And I've done that. And I've said, hey, you're going to be my manager, and I'm going to look up to you. I'm going to be looking for support. And, I'm pretty sure you coach your people every week, bi-weekly, monthly. And again, you're moving into the conversation piece here, because as a manager in a top companies, we had that matrix of developing the career development path for my direct reports. And then I had to sit down every quarter, every year to go all right, let's see, you wanted to be leader, you want to be manager for next, department, or let's say you want to handle my tasks. If I leave, if I go on vacations, you want it to be next leader, I'm going to give you some of my tasks to you, to my team. So that way, when there's a next posting comes in, you've already done half of the role that I am doing it right now, half of my admin role. So I am looking for, when I'm asking those questions, literally, I'm asking for, are you able to handle the team if I'm not there? Can I depend on you? Can I delegate the task? Can I make you a future leader? So again, it depends on the industry. Now let's go back. Long-term goal. For you to get the long-term goal, you have to meet the short-term goal. Some company, what they have is they have that, again, talent pool, right? If I wanted to go into, so I didn't become a hiring manager overnight. I got literally more than 5 promotions to get, had to meet those requirements. First was like you're handling particular client, next was the other client, and next was handling the escalation, next was handling the complaint process. And I needed to learn everything to get to that level. And it took me a couple of years, some time. And again, I went on a mat leave. I had 2 babies in between, right? So that blocked my long-term goal. So having said that, life happens. So how you go around and modify your long-term goal matters. And I really don't want you to feel guilty if you don't have a long-term goal. But you know what? You have to have at least short-term goal. So that way you're not going in an interview and thinking, hey, I don't have a goal. I just want the job. That's it, right? Even though you want it, you got to be strategic about it. Now, a couple of things. Let me know if it's making sense. If it's making sense, let me know. Am I on the right track? Are you thinking of, let's say, going into the management, or maybe you're not the management material, you hate managing people. Is your motivation different? So for long-term goal, it's not only about money. It's about the motivation. What motivates you, right? Right. So like, I'm not going to sit here and say, well, I want to make $50,000 more next year, because you know what? Money might not be motivation for you. That's how I coach my client. It depends on what you want. Is it work-life balance? Then you probably are not going to take on more tasks, but you can be expert at something, but you want to be getting out of there 9 to 5. Or you want to manage a team, then I'm going to train you, right? Train you to go into the next level. And genuinely, hiring managers are asking you to find out, can I work? Like, can I help him go on to the next step? Can I see me and him working together? And I'm hiring for fit. So it has happened in the hiring world. People would come in and not understanding, if you want to go from this role to this role, it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take years. And they're like, you know what? I'm just taking this as a stepping stone. I'm going to be here 3 months and I'm MBA graduate. And it's more kind of like, I'm just using this as a stepping stone. Avoid saying that. Even though you never know what's out there. So when the hiring manager senses that, why am I hiring this person? Hiring costs are really high. Recruitment costs are really high. Why am I hiring you for 3 months when I know that you're not going to be sticking around? You're using this department as a stepping stone. Now, keep in mind, there's nothing wrong with it, right? But again, you don't want to say it, I'm just going to be here for 3 months. And honestly, I want to keep on promoting myself. I want to be manager in 1 year. Even though you want to, there's nothing wrong with it. But it's how you say it matters, all right? Hopefully that makes sense. Let me see if I missed anything. I had some point in there as well. Let me ask you this, and maybe answer that on LinkedIn for me. A lot of people are watching. Answer that for me. Where you work right now, do you have that career development path with the management? If you don't, you want to make sure that you check in with the management every 2 weeks or every month. Keep on communicating with your manager, so that way they can support you. Right? I handle more than 20 teams at one time. I would forget about it, who wants to go where. If you don't come to me constantly reminding me of, hey, Sweta, you know what? I really wanted to go there and I'm doing this, right? Hey, that's a motivation for me to actually put your name into hat when the promotion comes in, next promotion comes in. So you got to keep on talking with the manager. You got to keep on having that one-on-one coaching sessions and having that strategy, career path, career strategy plan every year, every quarter. So that way you're going to meet that long-term goal. And this is where you got to find out when you're going an interview, does that company even have that? So if your expectation is, you know what, I've worked in this company, the other company, I've always had manager ask me, hey, what do you want to do next? And managers sit down together, and you're going with the full flex of, I want you to hold my hand and support me. I want you to book meeting with me, and I want you to do the performance review and everything. And if that company is not one of those, then probably you're not going to be fit, because your career, whatever worked for you before, it's not going to work. So this is where the research comes in. So ask the people who are in that company, hey, you are the, let's say, for example, you're the financial advisor right now. And from being a financial advisor to the management branch manager, what do I need to do? What are the courses I need to do? Does that mean that I'm going to be covered for that course? Can I wait, right? Before, can I actually pay for it right now? Or can I just get promoted and they reimburse me? This is what matters, right? So, and also it depends on what city you're living in as well matters, how fast you're going to move in. Sometimes a long-term goal takes more than 10 years to meet there and go there. Are you willing to wait that long? Or you want to switch the plan and go in a different career to get there? And I've done that for my people. So if you can't get there in 5 years from now, let's modify it. And there's the other way to navigate and go right there where you want it to be, right? Don't be afraid. But here's the thing for you. When someone is asking you for long-term goal, you don't have it. Don't feel guilty, but self-reflect and say, what do I want? Do not try to impress the hiring manager. I want to be a management someday. But you know what? As a hiring manager, if I can clearly see your resume doesn't have any leadership, skills, and I haven't noticed anything, you leading any project or leading anything, being a mentor, I don't see any of those. And if you tell me my long-term goal, even in the interview, I feel like I don't think you're the right fit for being a leader, then I might be able to say, I don't think I can support him. And what's going to happen later on is you're going to sit with me and I can't get you there, then you're going to probably be very unhappy and you are going to quit, right? And that's not fair to you. So your career lies in your hands, and you want to ensure you do the research with the company without actually going blindfolded, thinking that I want to be manager. What if you can't be manager in that company? What if the internal hire, you need to, there are different policies when people are getting promoted. Some people are being promoted based on the performance every year, right? If you meet the goal, then you're going to be promoted, but it's not written in stone. Some people are promoted based on seniority. If there are 10, if the 10 years of tenure people are working there, if you're a new hire, and if you want to be next leader, maybe you're not going to be it because they're bounded by the contract. There's a unionized environment that works differently. In government, that works differently, right? So that's why there's no one size fits all when it comes to how do you answer long-term goal. And you don't have to manage. Just you talk about, I want to take on more complex project. I want to get to know the stakeholders within all the departments. I wanted to make sure that I train people. I want to take so much from your plate that when you go away, you're relaxed and you know what, team can function without you. I want to be your right hand. And who does not want to hear that? Does that make sense? All right. So let me see if there's anything at all that I'm missing it out. Type in comments in there. Neil says, great point, being proactive. Thanks, Neil. That's so true. As much as you want to hold your manager accountable for support, what happens is what action have you done in the past that your manager can defend you? And a corporate role, what happens is if you're really good at what you do on a current role, chances are your manager is going to drop your name onto the hat later on, because we always had a meeting. When the next hiring came in, we were the first one to know in our intake meeting, and they knew what kind of candidate they wanted inside. And I already knew my people, they want to move into the operation, they want to be leader, they want to be doing this, so I knew all of it, and I'd be selling them on the background because they deserve, because they've done so well, they've proven they can do it. The action matters. As a manager, I can only support you if you do your due diligence and sign up for the courses, show me, and continuously talking to me. All right. So you need to be driver off your seat. No one can drive for you, right? If you want to be passenger, go ahead and be a passenger, but then people are going to say, you're not ready for promotion. If in internal promotions, people are going to say, you're not ready for promotion. And the problem is with you because you have not shown enough. Are you ready? So you got to stretch yourself out. Don't expect your manager would know everything about you. You have to keep on communicating, keep on telling them, I've done this. Have a weekly check-in. That's the best way to plan the long-term goal. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, so let me see if I have anything else that I've missed on it. Any question, let me know. I'm going to take a couple of questions. I'm going to be out of here. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. I have a lot of videos when it comes to resume interviews and, you know, everything there. If you have any questions, if you have an interview coming up and you're failing the interviews, and honestly, you got to self-reflect and see, is there something in the interview I'm not saying? Interview is not going to be same for everything, right? I customize interview coaching with my client. So it all depends on industry. It all depends on job descriptions. Tell me about yourself could be completely different for one job. It cannot be same for everything. Same thing with the long-term goal as well. It depends on industry and depends on the type of role you're applying for. You got to watch out just saying that cliche word on it. I want to be next manager. You know what I mean? You don't have to be next manager. You could be individual contributor and be happy with it. It all depends on motivations and what's the career path that's predefined in the company. You can break your head, but if they have identified that that pool does not belong to your long-term goal, that's where you're going to be miserable and you're going to quit because you're not going to be selected because your long-term goal does not match with the company's mission and values. Hopefully that makes sense. And let's see here if I miss anything at all. Yeah, and also I wanted to let you know that based on my own observation, I worked in Toronto for so long, more than like 19 years, right? I've seen in the GTA area, in cities, people tend to move slowly, and I've lived in Sudbury for a bit now, over 3 years. I felt like people are moving quite quickly because they don't have enough people. So even though like I've seen people on a teller role in a banking area for like, let's say a couple of months, and they're promoted into the personal banking. So much so that within 1 year, they've become the manager. But same kind of role in the city, I've seen people are still struggling to go into the next stage. You see that? So it all depends on the city life. It all depends on the locations. It all depends on your management as well, obviously, and predefined career path. Hopefully that makes sense. And if you need any interview coaching, anything like that, I'd be happy to review it and work with you. I do one-to-one interview coaching. Feel free to book me in when you have interview coming up. And honestly, I've gotten quite better at coaching people when it comes to interview, just because I was in the hiring role for so many years and it helped me so much, and people have gotten hired in top companies. And I'm extremely blessed that the matrix that I provide them, it has been working. All right, let's pick some questions if I have anything. I have a lot of questions. So Anand, there's a strength and weakness questions on my YouTube channel. Go there and see there's subscribeyoutube.com. There's a strength and weakness, it would be, there's a framework to it. But again, you know what? I always tell people there's no one size fits all. It all depends on, again, what are you applying for? Your strength and weaknesses is all tied up with the job description, type of role, and obviously the industry as well. So the framework is there. You go figure it out. And a lot of people have gotten higher. I get a lot of compliment from my client who are saying that YouTube channel has given them so much hope, and they've watched my interview and they've passed the interview. That feels really good. So go ahead and check it out. Binge watch it, like, this weekend. Just go and just prep yourself for an interview, and I'm pretty sure you're going to pass it. All right. So I have a lot of it, and I feel like, oh God, it's so much comments here. All right, I think I'm going to let it go, and I'm going to probably go and answer any questions you might have after. But again, you can follow us. There's a Teach Hindu LinkedIn page as well, where we post the link for job seekers, job posting, and we have a blog as well where tons of material, tutorial, free material. It's at teachhindu.com page under blog sections. These are all about the job search. There are tons of free material. Go ahead and do it yourself if you're one of those. I'll tell you what, If you're not getting interview, it could be your resume because you're not selling your branding on resume. If you're not getting hired, it's your interview. If you're not even passing the phone screening, it is absolutely crucial for you to pass that because that's the first stage of it. And long-term goal could be asked on phone screening as well. I've seen it. I've also asked that as well as a hiring manager when I'm pre-screening people. All right. And also, you don't want to wait until face-to-face to figure out what's your long-term goal. Research and go from there. Not everybody has to have a long-term goal, but you got to make sure that you know what you want and be vague about it. And if you want what you want, that's fine. But how you answer matters. Do not be too ambitious. So that way they feel like, oh, you're too qualified and this person's going to be bored and I'm not going to hire them. There's a manager. There are managers out there, right? Some managers feel intimidated. You know, let's be real. There's a hiring bias. Why are people not getting hired if they're overqualified? It's almost like you're too awesome to date, right? I talk about that ageism all the time. If I have a long-term goal, which is too ambitious, there's going to be a manager who's going to be like, you know what? I don't think I need him. He knows too much or she knows too much and I can't handle it. I'm intimidated. I can't work with them, right? It happens. So how you come across an interview, how you say it, you know, who are you talking to? You have no idea. Your boss could be someone who is full of bias. You can't get into the people's head. This is where the research comes in. Be safe. And later on, when you start working with the management, your manager, then you can talk about all those things. Now, try to avoid everything when it comes to long-term goal. Try to avoid all the personal reason. I'm going to get married. I'm going to have kids. I'm going to travel. I'm going to go on vacations, you know, and I'm going to be entrepreneur. I'm going to be self-employed. You know, try to avoid all those things for long-term because the employer is going to be like, why am I spending so much money on it when the career path is not going to be aligned, right? So try to avoid all those TMI, which is too much information on the long-term goal. You can always iron it out when you start working with the manager. Hopefully today's long-term goal questions and answer was helpful for you, but I have example on YouTube. I'm going to put it in there. And then you can go and check it out. How do you answer? There's do's and don'ts, a lot of it. Go ahead and check it out and see what applies to your role, to your industry. One size does not fit all. Hopefully you got the point. You take care and thank you so much for watching. Feel free to share this video, like, and also subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you. Bye-bye.